WR4ACJ or RXG, or whatever it is. Are you still over here, John? W4SMP, Mobile 4 in the group?
Well, I don't know what was said before. I come up when it was getting good. There, Ronnie and John. I've been downstairs explaining to the wife why there's squiggly lines running up and down my set. And I just pointed across the street out here to the, looked like about a beam about 50 foot up in the air. And the power lights go dim around here every once in a while. And the lines sort of wiggle up and down. Look like when somebody's talking. But you know how it is sometimes around this neck of the woods over here in Dobson. But now listen now, I've been trying to get on Marvin's case here. I've been asking him, we're supposed to go over there sometime this week and clean up. And I've been wanting to know, I've got some help lined up, some of the boys from down here at the school club. But he's been busy. He went and bought him a tower off of George and a few other things, trying to get some stuff up. His daddy's been keeping him busy, working down at the building, and he's had all kind of relatives and this sort of thing to visit this week. And I've been stuck up with my mother-in-law this week, and I hope the wife ain't listening. But I'm sitting here right now working on Luke's rig, and I checked what Jack told me to, and it's still in bad shape. It looks like it's going to be what I thought it was. It don't make sense why it wouldn't work, but sometimes it just doesn't. I don't know why. So, Ronnie, what are you up to tonight? WA4SMP. WB4, Romeo Golf Charlie, or a really gross communicator, whichever one you want to call it. Ronnie, back over to you.
Okay, John, a really gross communicator. Yeah, you know, those words my kids understand. That gross word, I always thought that meant how much something weighed or something. I don't know, but that's a new language to me. Anyhow, it sounds ordinary anymore. Yeah, I guess I'll have to put that word in the dictionary, since somebody has invented it, and they're going to have to give it a new definition. Absolutely. Yeah, I think I've had my turn. Now, let's turn it back down to, let's see, who gets it now? Monroe, WB4BXX, is that right? I can't read here in the night. Matter of fact, I didn't write it down. W4SMP in the group. Go ahead, Monroe.
Yeah, Ronnie, W4SMP, WB4VKK in the group. Okay, real fine. Let me get on out of here, fellas. Been nice talking with you. And let me say my 73s, and you ought to be getting on pretty up close to Mount Airy there, Ronnie. Okay, John, we sorry you're moving away and leave us, but you got to come back and see us, and good meeting you up there, John, in Mount Airy, and George, and all you fellas. So let me say my 73s and good night, and we'll see you fellas later. So, let's see, WB4PZJ to take it in the group. WB4VKK saying good night, 73s.
Okay, Monroe, very good. WB4VKK, Jamestown, W4PZJ, with the group. Very good. Gil, glad to have you in here tonight, Monroe. Enjoyed the chat with you. And it looks like you got to get down on 5-2 to scare up a lot of folks. Don't work that repeater too much, but every time I do, I seem to scare up some very interesting folks to talk to. 73s to you, very best of them, and enjoy the chat with you. And a good afternoon to you up there, John Dawson, from out of the, no, you're probably down in Dobson. I started to say from out of the face of the mountain. But very good. Well, I got to kind of monitor W4SMP, make sure he gets home safe and sound, since he came down and carted off my 10-year-old daughter to spend a little time with his family up there. We had his 11-year-old daughter down here since Sunday, Saturday, whenever. And we have sort of a reciprocal trade agreement there. Except I don't know if he drives as well as I do, so I have to monitor and make sure he's still on the road. And he's getting on up there pretty close to Mount Airy, so he's probably doing all right. Absolutely. Well, let's hear from John up there. He might just pause a moment. We might even have Peter Rubino listen to us, John. If he doesn't chime in, well, go ahead and pick it up. WA4VE, W4PZJ in the group.
Peter Rubino saying howdy. Appreciate you letting us get in, and let me pick up the... Took a little run to the radio here. Reading a book. So I believe you turn it over to YVE, and I'll pick her up on the next round. We say howdy to everybody. I believe we've had one or two to sign. This is WA4ASK. Pick it up, John. WA4YVE. This is WA4ASK.
Fine, Pete, fine. Good to hear you, WA4ASK. This is WA4YVE. Mount Airy. Got all these Johns in here tonight. And good John Dawson, John Vogler, and this John. Good to hear you, Pete. Good to hear your voice from down Cotton Grove Township. The wind has got up here. It's blowing real hard, and it's raining some. You people down in that part of the country don't want to how to be proud of your stable weather. It changes up here in 5 minutes. The temperature is funny. It's dropped 4 degrees here in the last hour. It's a front coming through, and it is raining some, and it was a while ago while when the mobile unit was out. Our new president and trustee, Mr. Wiseman, it was raining while he was out, and I wonder if it still is raining on your next transmission, see if it's still raining, being as you mobile in there. The wind is blowing pretty hard. Bill had almost 12 to 14 mile per hour scale up there, and I think it's increased since then. John Dawson, if you'll talk to George Branagh knows that radio you're working on just like a clock. He sold those things, Gladins, he sold them. He's a dealer. And he knows one from A to Israel. And I've wondered why you hadn't asked him up till now for some advice. Probably because you didn't know he was the dealer for him. You hadn't asked him, and so he won't volunteer any information, I don't believe, until you ask him. But if you ask him, he'll gladly volunteer some information. That trickle. Somebody sent some Morse code there. George will tell you anything you want to know about that Gladden. He knows them. I mean, he knows them. He can just sit and tell you everything is in there and the way it's laid out and what it does and all that fun kind of stuff. So you confer with George, and he'll draw your diagram of one. Just sit down with a piece of paper and draw your schematic diagram of that radio. He knows them so well. I'm not overestimating George here, or overselling George, but he does know them. Some he sells as long as he did those and works on as many as he has. He sure has to know them. So John, you get on to George there, and he'll help you. I'm not volunteering George's help by any measure. He sells it, I believe. He has a fine shop down there, and anything that you can do, he can, or any parts that you may need, he would probably have them. I'm not selling anything on the radio either. Not getting commercial. They sing an old Lang Syne here on the television. I don't know what's going on. Must be fixing to come into a new year or something. Something of that sort. I'm about wound down. Just about wound down. WR4ACJ. Let's see. Is Ronnie headed? Ronnie, is it raining? Tell us, is it raining, Ronnie? W4SMP Mobile 4. This is WA4YVE. Go ahead.
WA4YVE, W4SMP. I'll tell you now, John, somebody's out of their mind. There's not a cloud in the sky, and I've got a beautiful moon to my left. Beautiful. And I sit and gaze upon that bright moon, I think of the coast fishing out there on that pier. It is one more beautiful night to be traveling. And we're right in the vicinity of where old John Kiger last was active as far as being a living person. And going on up the road. John, you said, outside John, you said that probably I don't drive as good as you, and you're probably all right. Yeah, you probably are. However, I've made it this far up the road with no problem whatsoever. None. This little Pinto has been really purring tonight. And we're almost to the Holly Springs exit in Mount Airy. The airport is in sight. Something else. Peter Rubino, Say good evening to you, Pete.
Your fine family. It's good to hear from you. It's been a good while since we've heard you on the radio, Pete. And we need to hear a little bit more from you. So you go ahead and make a transmission there. So I may not be in here too much longer. As I enter the dim lights of Mount Airy, I see them in the right over the crest of the horizon. WA4ASK in the group W4SMP.
W4SMP in the group is WA4ASK. Well, Roger. Well, good to hear from you, Ronnie. We say a very good evening to you and your fine family. The extra passenger there, I believe that you did a little trading with outside John. And we say howdy to all the Johns that are still listening. Well, we've been a little on the busy side today. Janice's father entered the Baptist Hospital to have his cataract operation, which will be at 7:30 in the morning. So we spent the biggest part of the day over there. Got him situated, had an appointment with the doctor fairly early this morning. And then we waited around to make sure he got settled down in his hospital room and bed and all that sort of thing. And last report, well, he was spilling the peas that he was eating for the evening meal all over the bed and enjoying those that he carefully hemmed up and got down the way they were supposed to go. Well, we were real sorry to, even though we did not know John Kiger, we did not know him personally from eyeballing him. We've had many QSOs with him, and certainly was very saddened about the accident occurred there. But it was good to chat with all of you good folks. And it's been raining down here. It rained a couple of hours ago. He got a 101 electronic kit, that a breadboard that he mixes up a lot of different things, reset here. And he's built an electronic organ this evening. He has built a 3 transistor radio that actually worked and all that sort of thing. So we've been having fun with him, and of course his stereo, he's had a lot of fun with it. So that about brings us up to date. We're still vacationing and enjoying it very much. W4PZJ in the group WA4SK.
Roger, WA4ASK in the group W4PZJ. Very good, Peter Rubino. Good to hear from you tonight. And fine on Janice's pappy there. Glad to hear you got him settled away there in the hospital. And proceeding to improve his eyesight in one of his eyeballs, as I understand it. Very good. Fine on Benny's activities. You know, I looked at those kits. I thought Santa Claus ought to bring my little daughter one of those. And I says to myself, now face up to the truth. You just want it yourself to mess with. So after I faced up to the truth, why, I decided not to tell Santa Claus to bring it. I'll tell you one thing that's getting kind of intriguing, though, the way these CB sets are plummeting in price. Gracious. There's an outfit here selling an expensive outfit for less than $40. You know, I'd almost be inclined to get one of those and just rip the parts out of it. You probably use a lot of those parts on 2 meters. Absolutely. Well, yeah, Ronnie, you're doing all right. Yeah, you could drive about 10 dB less than me and still be a good driver, you know. I want to turn it up to John Dawson, but before I do, let me see if Ronnie is still moving. Are you still going, Ronnie? Are you still there?
I'm in dangerous territory, John. I'm in Surrey County. You know, this is where everybody has problems. Do you remember J.W. Cordell? We were right in his driveway. Right in his driveway. So go ahead, John Dawson. Next time, y'all take a good standby before you come back to me. I'll be at home, have my rig plugged in at the fixed location. WB4R, let's see, Gross, RGC, W4SMP in the group, on Pittman Street, signing.
And I'll catch you on the fixed rig in a few minutes.
Okay, I just wanted to see if my switch worked here. I'm now operating off my handy-dandy little switch on the floor, so I don't have to be hanging around the microphone right here now. I can just set everything aside here, and I can still work with my hand loosely. Use the old foot-o to cut everything off. Ronnie, that might not sound too good, but it does let people help me remember my call, like old young virgin elephant up there in Mount Airy. He gets his call around. That's pretty hard to forget. Say good evening to you, John, Lemon, and John again, and Pete, ASK. Good evening to you. I believe I've had too much time to talk to anybody, but I'll be daggone if I hadn't got to go in here and go to the little boy's room for a while. And due to the fact I've been working on Luke's rig here, and John, I appreciate that information about George. I have got, in as much as it isn't as much as trying to find the problem now, it's trying to figure out what the problem is. It is a multi-vibrator circuit, and it is giving me fits. The thing about it is, and what I have a feeling is eventually going to happen, the circuit is completely operational as a DC converter, provided it's unloaded. It oscillates very nicely, and it also works as a push-pull audio amplifier for the audio output of the rig. Works very nicely there too. I'm using a couple of transistors which are very close to the rating of the ones that come out of it. They are higher ratings, handle more current than the other transistors, but it does have a lower cutoff. It has a lower cutoff collector to base current setup than the other transistors, but in the fact of that being an oscillator circuit, as long as it's lower, it should have an effect on it. Plus also, if I'm not mistaken from what Jack told me, we were talking about discussing that as in a multi-vibrator circuit, most of the time the current so that's the way it works out sometimes. We just it is more or less trying to figure out what the problem is. The problem is in that circuit. It's trying to figure out why it is doing what it's doing, theorize it out, and figure out what's going on. And I'm not the world's greatest philosopher. I took after Gene Dawson there sometimes there, John, but I have got to get out here and go to the little boy's room before I make this a little boy's room. And my father was asking about how many kids that you and Ronnie's had. He said he hadn't kept up with that much. He said, well, I wonder how many kids he's got for Christmas, and asked to buy presents. And I'll tell you what he got me for Christmas after I come back in a few minutes. So, I'll be QRT for a few minutes, and then I'll make it back in here and get back in here and dig on Luke's rig a little bit. So, John, I haven't heard from you in a little bit. Well, let's see. Mr. Fleming there. WA4YVE, WB4RGC, and group is now clear, but I'll be back in a few minutes. Pick it up, John.
WB4, let's see, rugs, grass, and concrete. Rocks, grass, and concrete. That's the way I remembered it. This WA4YVE. Yeah, and Roy's transferring to his home station, and John is getting his rig squared away, Luke's rig squared away. I was on the telephone there just for about a minute of your conversation, John, so I have no idea what you said, except that I do appreciate your recommending George. I did hear you say that, and I'm sure that you'll get that thing squared away and get old Luke back on the air shortly. I got a good here I'm going to send to you, and we're going to keep you busy, keep you something to do. But I do have a power supply I will send to you. I will send the diagram with it and everything, so you'll know have something to go by. Now, I want you to look at it and see what. When it broke down, I unplugged it. I didn't give it time to hurt the transceiver. It is a power supply that came with a transceiver. It snaps on the back of it, and it builds up too much heat. It gets into the transceiver and hurts it. So it has a jumper where you can keep it away from the transceiver, and I keep it away from it. About, the jumper's about 8 inches long, and I keep it away from it. So I developed the hum, and immediately I unplugged it and